Greetings, baseball fans. Welcome to Cigarettes and Bubblegum. I'm Four Friends 1679, and we're joined tonight by the Phillies Guy from Baseball Card Stories. You can find his channel over at youtube.com/at the Phillies Guy. Steven, it's great to have you. It's good to meet you finally.
Thank you so much for having me on your channel. I appreciate the invitation.
I'm a really big fan of baseball card stories. There's so many channels out there that really dwell in sensationalism, and it's either this is the most amazing thing in the world or the sky is falling, and it's just a lot of negativity, of course. And what I can always count on baseball card stories to deliver that very pleasant, relaxing, just we're all going to take a stroll and go to a show or see a collection. And it's just so just relaxing. Just it's very positive and wholesome. Almost sounds like I'm making fun of it a little bit, but it really just gives you that moment of ease where it's just you can sort of sit back and just appreciate that. And it's really cool that's kind of how you've built that brand and what you do style wise.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I've been telling people online for a while now, especially around baseball cards, that my joy is non-negotiable. And baseball cards for me for years, well, ever since I was a kid, right? They have been the outlet, the thing that I have done apart from the thing that was my career, the apart from the thing that was my studies. And so all of these things that were apart from what my true focus on life was, the baseball cards were the escape. And so when I started the channel, I started the channel just as an outgrowth of that escapism. And so everything that you see on the channel is real. It's me. It's just me and my collecting daily habits, me going to shows, what I do with my boxes, how I acquire cards, how I acquire collections and sell them. And that's all it is. There's no hype around it. I'm not looking for anybody's opinion. It's just, this is what I'm doing with my collection. And if anybody's curious, you're welcome to have a peek. And I do it because I love it. And what I hope in this and so many other areas of my life is that if I show that I love it, maybe other people will love it too.
The you mentioned that my joy is not negotiable. I love that
My
because
joy is not
that
negotiable.
it so much of it, and usually the sensationalism and the sky is falling and all that has to do with folks that are in it for the money. And yeah, there's good money in it. Of course, if there weren't a few cards like the Honus Wagner, the Mickey Mantle that kind of get it in the public's imagination, maybe the hobby's not so big, but if I wanted more income, I'd get a second job. If I want an investment, I'll buy stocks. And if I want to compete with somebody, I'll play sports. This is just supposed to be fun. Like, let's remember to have fun and enjoy what we're doing.
Yeah, so much of it is because the money's involved, and the money has been involved, well, since the junkwax era is,
Yeah,
when the big money really moved into the space.
yeah.
And it's been that way for more than 40 years. But that doesn't have to change the way that we collect. It certainly doesn't have to change the way that I collect. And nobody bats 1,000. We all
We know
lose.
it.
We all lose on some things. A couple of videos ago, a couple of months ago, I bought what I thought was a 1984 complete top set from a dealer at a show. And I got it home. It was $40. And I got it home and I opened it up and there was water damage all on the bottom. Like pretty much the whole set was ruined. And maybe if I had spent 400,000, I would have been, I would have thought differently about it. But $40, all right. It was on me. I didn't take out every single card and inspect every single card. I just bought the set as it was after peeking inside the box. I've done that 1,000 times or so in my life. And every once in a
Right.
while,
Yep.
you open a box and you buy it based upon what the box looks like, and then you open up and you take out every single card, and you win some, you lose some there. So that's all part of it, but that's still fun.
It's funny because you say you win some, you lose some, and I'm guessing your record's probably pretty good, at least based on what you present on your channel.
I,
Like
yeah, I'd
a
like
three
to
hundred
think
dollar collection, and I ended up with 1,200 in my pocket and all these sets. I was like,
I'd like to think that at this point in my life, and at this point in my collecting career, especially, is that I've been around the block once or twice. I've opened up a lot of baseball card packs. I've opened up a
right,
lot of baseball card boxes. I've opened up a lot of baseball card albums. I've been to countless shows.
yeah.
I know the look and feel of cards, and you get a sense for it after, after all those years, you get a sense for what a good deal probably is or isn't going to be. When I'm looking at collections, which I really love picking up collections online, not necessarily picking up collections for cheap. That's not necessarily the point. The point is what can I rescue? Because I have a love for this that not a lot of people have. And so I'm looking for collections that are neglected, not necessarily high value. And then out of my own hobby time, what of my own hobby time that I can put into it, an hour a night as I'm watching a ball game or after my kid goes to bed or something like that, where I can bring those cards back to health and then send them back into the world in circulation to be enjoyed again.
Right, because you don't you as you buy this stuff, I mean, you're not a dealer per se, but you don't hoard this stuff either. Um,
No, I'm not keeping
but
it.
it,
I've got limited space.
right,
I've got a house and a family, and my kids' toys are take up way more space than my baseball cards do. So I don't have the space to keep all this stuff. I have to sell along most of it.
right,
But
right,
what I'm looking for is to identify collections where, hey, there's something in there I want to keep. There's one thing in this big, gigantic, multi collection that came out of a basement or an attic or something like that that I want to keep.
right.
And then I can put in the rest of my hobby time to rehabilitate the rest of that collection. And then the one or two things out of that collection that I want to keep, I get to keep it for free. And so I can build my collection more or less at no cost that way. And I've been doing that for years.
And I mean, guys, got to check out his channel because it's just so cool that the way you do that sort of running tally thing and the number of totes full of loose cards.
Oh, yeah,
It's just I laugh every time I see that. And one of the reasons I think, okay, so when I reached out to you initially, I said that from watching your channel over the past for me it's been like the past year or so. One of the things I've noticed that we're kind of a little bit sort of kindred spirits on is the things we tend to collect. And correct me if I'm missing anything, but it seems you like and I also like to collect complete sets,
yep,
Hall of Famers, and then team sets. For me, the Red Sox, for you, the Phillies.
exactly.
And it was just it's not often that I see nobody even talks about complete sets anymore. I mean, it's always you're chasing the special card or the refractor or the auto or whatever,
Mhm.
the Harper for the kid. That's a great
Right.
love that. Love that.
And
Uh,
what that means is that out there in the wild are all of these sets that are missing five or six cards
right.
because there was this huge swath of hobby time, like the last 20 years, like 2000 to 2020, where the prevailing wind shifted away from set building and they went more towards singles. And so you had these massive amounts of complete sets. Junkwax sets, yes, but also the kind of periphery to junkwax sets too,
Yep.
where guys would pick up, a complete 1990 top set for a buck, and they would go in and they take out the Frank Thomas rookie, and they go in and they take out maybe one or two cards, other cards, and then they just take the whole set and they either put it in the trash or give it away or something. And so
Right.
now there's all of these sets missing one, two, six, eight, 15 cards.
Right.
Um, and you can pick them up for next to nothing. And then because a lot of those cards are still available and cheap, you can recombine the sets and build complete sets now for really cheap.
Yeah.
But then once you have them, there's significant value there. I mean, you can pick up a set for a buck or two, put $1 or $2 worth of cards into it, and then sell it for 20,
Right.
as long as you
Which
put in the work.
Well, yeah, and there's two dimensions you mentioned there on your channel. The last video, which was I think was I think it was the $300. It was like several videos combined into one. Really good outcome at the end. And you mentioned something to saying like to any commenters who would say that you were ripping that person off because you paid very little and you ended up getting a significant amount of money out of it, getting several sets to add to your collection. You mentioned the time that you put in, and it really is when I compare us, one of the things I like, what stops me from being envious of what some of the deals you've been able to do is you put in a lot of time, and this is money down here. This is where
Yeah.
and I am too lazy and too impatient to put in that kind of time. I'm not going to say I don't have the time. I'm going to take ownership of that choice and say I choose not to put in that kind of time. So consequently, I spend probably a lot more money
Yeah.
than I need to.
Money always gets you to the front of the
But
line. Absolutely.
But if I'm not willing, and the other thing you mentioned was space, because I kind of you notice I kind of am an eclectic
You've
bunch
got a
of
card wall. Yeah,
stuff.
I don't have a card wall.
Yeah.
You can see my wall is blank. This is just the
Well, I also have a
the
sword wall and a hat wall. And my wife's rule is basically this is my office. If it stays in here, she really doesn't care, but she doesn't want to see it all over the rest of.
right.
So it's kind of like, yeah, I built this big shelf, well, IKEA, and it's like, okay, I'm counting the cubicles back there because once I run out of room, it's not going to be stored in another closet somewhere
Hmm.
else. But I also, that's the other big thing is I'm not a box or slab guy. I'm a binder and pages guy because I just love occasionally just grabbing a random book and flipping through it. I'm not a big fan of rifling through boxes, but I want to see it. And I want, I'm like, okay, there you go, display.
Yeah,
But
I've got all my team sets and binders. My all of my Phillies team sets from the 19th century up to 2026. They're all in binders, and I love getting them out and flipping through the team sets. And like every night in the game, most games have a trivia that they offer in the third inning, and they give you the answer in the eighth inning. Most nights, the Phillies trivia will come out, and it's like, oh, I've got that guy's card, and so me and my kid are watching the game, and I'll go out and get the binder, and I'll come out and I flip it through, and it's like, here's the answer to the trivia question. Here's his card from 1923 or whatever it is, and that kind of stuff is really fun. For the sets. I kind of feel that they are in C2 in the box. That's kind of where they came. The old style sets came in the brick boxes, and to have them there as they were originally designed, that kind of hits me in my nostalgia spot. And then when I do want to go and flip through them, you've seen on my channel, I always take out the big rookies and I'll have them sleeved on top, so I can access them quickly and without any damage. But all of the commons, if I want to take them out, I'll just take them out and thumb through them and give me the tactile response of actually touching the cards, smell them. The older they are, the more the lignin has broken down, and you get that old cardboard smell.
yeah,
It's full
yeah.
senses.
And also the other really cool thing you do with those complete sets. So the insertion of a wax pack was a great touch. Just having a wax pack in most of them, but also those box blocks that you make. Guys, you have got to check these out. Those are so sweet.
And that was just necessity is the mother of invention. The 792 card sets go back to what,
81, I
1980
think.
or 81.
Yeah, 80.
So like 82 and on, no, 83 and on. 1983 is the first 792 card set. So
Okay.
83 and on, your boxes are full. But 82 and before, there isn't a box that fits right because the cards don't have a standardized number and they're all a different size. And with all the collections that we've all been through, you got guys who do like rolled up paper towels, and you guys
I've done that.
cut sponges in half, or they cut foam blocks, or all kinds of different creative styles. Well, I've got these 3D printers, and I originally got them for a completely different purpose. And so when I had my first 3D printer, I had it, and I thought, well, I could print up just a perfect block, the exact size that I needed. So, I get out my tape measure and I do a length times width times height, and boom, I've got it out. And I slide it right in. And I was like, well, I could put something on top of that, couldn't I? So that, then I overlay, 1992 tops over top of it, or whatever it's going to be, the name of the set, the brand, and then I can match the colors. And I started matching the colors, like 1982 tops. The backs are really dark green and dark blue. So then I made my box block that I made for the 82 set is dark green and dark blue, and it says 1982 top set on it, and it matches, it reflects the edges of the cards as they lay flat. So it's just necessity of the mother of invention. And I made them for myself, and then everybody was like, "Hey, those look cool. Can you make them for me too?" It's like, "Well, I certainly can try."
If I was more of a box guy, I'd be one of your customers because those are sweet. But yeah, between that and then the wax pack and the rookies on top, like again, I'm thinking this is presentation, but you've managed to essentially make the storage part of it actually a presentation because you open it
Yeah,
up
that's
all
that's
like
the point. You
amazing.
take out the box, you open it up, and there's the whole thing. You got the whole set of
Right.
cards. You got the big rookie or two or three, a nice block in there that describes as everything's going on, and an original pack or original wrapper if I don't have a pack. So it's
Okay.
all there, and you
Well, the
can
older ones,
experience
yeah,
the
had the
full set.
wrappers and then
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. So what you have a lot. One of the other things. So my my collection only goes back. I think I have all of two 1952 tops. I have no 53s. Very, very little in the 50s. I have a smattering of tops and Bowman. You mentioned you go back to like the tobacco era.
Oh
You've
yeah.
got some really old stuff. Like what? Where do you find those? And if you don't mind me asking, what do those generally run? Are they? Can you get those
Yeah,
for
the
reasonable
older
money?
stuff, that it takes time, it takes patience, and it does take a modicum of investment. And the older stuff, that's all my Phillies team sets. So I have complete Phillies team sets in the complete post-war era, 48 on. And then from the pre-war era, I'm missing a handful in the 20s and the 30s and the early 40s. But pretty much complete team sets throughout the 20s, 30s, and early 40s. I'm working on finishing the Cracker Jack team set right now, which has one of the grails in it that's super expensive. That's the Grover Cleveland Alexander. That's on a in its worst condition, it's going to be a $5,000 card, and more realistically, that card's going to be around 10. And
Right.
I that's not a card that I can afford,
Yeah.
and I know that. So that's
Yeah.
on my Grail run right now, and I've got a budget account that's building up to buy one of those cards like that, and then working back from there, the T206s, T205s, T207s. I've got all those going back into the Bryce Williams and then into the Buchner Gold Coin cards and the Old Judge of the 19th century. Those cards are one at a time.
I would
Every
imagine.
every couple of months, you save up, and then you can, T206, maybe 60, $80. So you can do that once every 2 months and not have it break the budget, type of
Right.
thing.
Well, plus, I can't imagine you come across them all that often either, because
No, and especially, I currently live in Arkansas.
okay.
And, I'm from Philadelphia originally, which is the Phillies fandom, but I currently live in Arkansas, and from my house within a reasonable driving distance, I can get to shows there's pretty much a show every week that I can get to. I've been to shows in Little Rock and Northwest Arkansas, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Dallas, Springfield, Missouri, Joplin, Missouri, even as far as St. Louis. St. Louis is about a 5 hour drive for me. And every night when I go to a show, maybe one card is going to be at that show that I can buy.
Right.
And a lot of times I'll go to a show and there's just the pre-war stuff just isn't there. So
Yeah.
then I've got to quarantine it to the National. I can always rely on some pre-war stuff being at the National that I can pick up there. And then, all of my save searches on eBay, and I'm a member of all of the big pre-war Facebook collecting groups. And so you just kind of wait for the notifications to see who's selling what, and every once in a while you can pick one up. But it's 40 years of doing it one card at a time.
It's funny you mentioned the Facebook groups because just earlier today I was going through some of your shorts and I came across some of the humorous or in some cases you wonder evil, somewhat dishonest Facebook marketplace offerings
Yeah.
like junk wag stuff that's not even in good condition. That would be a dime, a nickel if it was going for people are asking 200, 1,000. Crazy.
I have often talked
Oh,
about the ghouls and goblins of Facebook Marketplace. They're out there.
right.
But there also is a fairly large, stable, and trustworthy community
Oh,
of
sure.
collectors out there as well. There's a great local card group on Facebook where I live, and I've interacted with a lot of those guys, and they're all straight shooters, and they're all looking out to keep the community safe. So if a scammer comes in, if somebody's coming in to try and rip people off, we all help each other out and those types of
Right.
things. It can be, it can be a great place to interact and to transact as long as you are willing and able to deal with the goblins because
Right.
they'll get you.
I always assume, in fact, I started asking people on eBay because I do a lot. I mostly, I mean, like I say, patience, time, money.
Right.
I'm a junk wax junkie on Beckett Marketplace, paying 50 cents a card for what I should be paying five, but I'm not going to find what I'm looking for anywhere else. So, whatever, I want it, I'm going to get it. But I've actually taken asking some of this every now and then you see something on eBay, the famous one on eBay, the error card. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
what's the error? Oh, there's a God, one guy was talking about a pink target bullseye. We used to call them laser zits when I was a kid, the little ink splatter. I'm like, that's not
Mhm.
an error card. That's a printing defect. And he's asking hundreds of dollars for it. I'm just like, but I've taken to asking some of these people. I'm like, I assume this is just money laundering. You're just laundering money, right? No one's going to actually buy that, are they?
They're out there, and they're preying on people who don't otherwise know better. And I've encountered that firsthand, in a lot of my collection bids on in the local marketplace around me. There are people who think that they're the cards that are in their closet, the junk wax in a tote, that they are worth big money because they go online and they see the 1990 Topps Sammy Sosa error card for $300,000. And and that's that's real, that they think that that card is worth that because they see it selling for that online. And I've been an educator my whole life. I do my best. You can't just come down on those people and make them feel dumb and belittle them, and you have to coax them into reality.
Right,
And you do that first by trying to establish a relationship of trust, let them know that you're not a scammer, that you're trying to help and you're trying to rescue and you're trying to rehabilitate. And
yeah,
then once you can get them to a little bit to see your side, then you can start to teach them a little bit about the cards, and you can teach them that those $300,000 Sammy Sosa rookie error cards aren't real, that the cards aren't actually selling for that you can show them that the cards are actually more or less worthless, and then they'll start to come down. But also, sometimes they just won't believe you and they'll call you a slur, and then off you go. And
right,
those people, then you got to report them and
right.
you got to block them so that they don't infiltrate the community anymore.
Right. And they also won't like go and leave and buy a 1 penny card from you on eBay just so they can leave a nasty review.
Yeah, I mean
I
that's
had an experience with one of those guys once. So,
yeah,
you
those
know,
people are out there too.
it's more than 12 months ago. It's disappeared from my record, but
Right.
I did actually have something to show you, and it's funny because after what you just said, I figured you had these, but just so happens the very last card that I bought from my local card shop here in Berkeley called Time Travelers, really fun place. It's not a card shop; it's an everything shop: comic books, games, toys, and they have a counter of baseball cards. But the last time I was in there just to buy some pages, and I tell the guy, hey, you got a stack I could look through. I'm looking for like Hall of Famers, $5 to $10 range, nothing big. And he hands me a stack of 52 tops. And I'm just like,
Wow.
what? Were you listening to me? But I did manage to pick up this.
Hey, that's a
You know,
great card.
it is, and it's not bad looking. There's a little crease on it on one side, doesn't go through to the back. I'm trying to get it without that red dot there. It doesn't go through to the back. It's what we would have called a wrinkle back in the day. It would not grade a 10 or anything. Well, I don't know. These days it seems like it would grade a 1. It just seems like anything.
Is it a red back or a blue back?
It is
Or a
a
black back, rather?
black bag.
It's a black back, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I was like, I did mention I only have two 1952 Topps cards, and one of them happens to be a Hall of Famer. So I was like, you know what? I
It's a
didn't
good
come
one to have.
expecting to buy it, but I don't know. I'm going to say it out loud, and you might laugh at me on the inside, but $40, I'll take it. The
That's a
comp
great
seemed to be
price.
around
Great
80.
price for that card.
So yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it again, not mint. There's a few problems with it, but I'm like 52 Hall of Famer. I mean, come on. In any way, it's a lot better than my 54 Bowman, which is in a PSA GFY. I mean,
Yeah, that's
I paid $2 or $3 for this one just because.
I got a soft spot for low grade cards like that. The low grade cards like that always have a place in my collection. I see value there. I see stories there. Those are cards that were handled, that were played with, that went through multiple hands and collections and bike spokes, and there's value there
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
in the story. And so never look down on a low grade card as far as I'm
No,
concerned. That's a great card.
as long as the price is right, I'm not that picky. And at
Yeah,
some point, I mean, I have a 5 binders of Hall of Famers behind me. Now I have a George Brett rookie that at the time, and I got it years and years ago. I didn't have $80 to drop on a 75 George Brett was what I was going for at the time. But I was in another local card shop, and the person comes out and she had just bought a collection. And as I walk in, she's kind of like, "Oh God, look at this garbage." I'm like, "What's going on?" She's like, "I bought this collection and it's got some good stuff, but oh God, it's in such bad shape." And she pulls out the Brett rookie, puts it on the counter, says, "I can't put that in my case looking like that." And I looked at it, I'm like, "Well, I'll give you $5 for it." It's all right, sold. And I'm like, well, if I wasn't going to pay $80 for a card that day, I'll fill in George Brett's 75 card for $5. Why not? Even if it does look like it went through the laundry.
Yeah, I haven't released this video yet. I was at a card show just this past weekend. The video will come out in about a week and a half. And I got a 74 tops Dave Parker rookie.
Oh, nice.
Um, as low condition as you could possibly get. I mean, run over by a truck, awful, awful. And the guy just had it in a box. And I'm sitting there, I'm looking at a Hall of Fame rookie card from 1974, and the guy wanted 20 cents for it. Absolutely, yes. I'm
What do you
like
say all
every
the
single
time?
time I'm going to buy that.
You see a Hall of Fame rookie for $1, you pick it up.
You buy it.
Simple, yes.
And so, 20 cents, I bought it in a lot with a handful of other Hall of Fame vintage cards in not great condition. It cost me $1 for the whole lot. The Dave Parker was 20 cents.
Right.
And
That's
now that card is, I have that card in better condition, but
yeah.
that card is going to go in my Hall of Fame box and it's going to be there proudly displayed every time we go in there. Like, look, this card is amazing. This card has had a life.
And
The sterility of gem mint cards from 1952. Like what? Nobody look at an adult who's born in 1952 that looks gem mint. No, everybody, if you were born in 1952, you've got gray hair, you've got wrinkles, your joints don't work, you're complaining about everything. That's because you're old. It's fine.
right, right. I've
Somebody who looks gem mint and was born in 1952, they have had a lot of work done.
you've been trimmed and cleaned and
Yeah. So let them age. Let them age. It's
absolutely.
fine.
One and normally I think the Hall of Fame bump is a bit of a myth, but the Parker card got a Hall of Fame bump
Huge one.
because
Yeah.
I got a pretty nice looking one. I feel like one of the other things I like about Beckett Marketplace, even though their base is 50 cents for any card, you will never find a card for 100 commons 50 cents. So it's an expensive way to complete up if you need more than a few to
Yeah.
complete a set. But I feel like it lags. When stuff's on the way up, people forget to update their Beckett Market store. And I got a Parker for, I want to say like $10. And there didn't, again, it would not grade a 10, but I'm looking at this going, this is what we would have called near mint when I was a kid,
Yeah.
probably closer to very good or excellent. But I'm like, there's nothing wrong with it. And now I'm seeing it at card shops 40, $50, which maybe is high. I don't know. But I'm like, that card seemed to have gotten a Hall of Fame bump.
Yeah,
And
it was a big one. I
normally,
saw it in a couple of shops, antique shops, not card shops, antique shops that just had boxes out. This was before he was elected. And I picked up three of them for $2 a piece.
nice.
In I would have, an EX condition, maybe VGEX around there. Ungraded, unsleeved, just like raw cards in a box. And I got them for $2 a piece. I got three of them, and that was about 6 months before he got elected to the Hall of Fame. And then, those cards probably in that condition are selling for 25, $30 now. It's probably they should have been in the first place. Uh,
Right,
I
right.
have no intention of selling them. Those cards, those cards are mine for all time now.
Yeah. Well, if you only paid a couple bucks, then it's not like, but if you did pay, it's always good to know you can get money out on a bigger ticket item. And there's
Mhm.
another one I want to show you that has a little bit of a story attached to it. I'm sure you know this one very well.
I've got a couple of those
I,
too. It's one of my favorites.
where's the camera here? There we go. Figured you did. This is probably a contender for, the class. So I got to ask you the classic question before I tell you this. So what do you think your most, or what do you, maybe what's your most expensive card? What's your most valuable card? Everyone wants to know that when they hear you collect baseball cards, right?
The
What's
most I've ever paid for a card is $400 for a 1915 Cracker Jack.
Oh, okay. Not bad, not bad. So when I got the Schmidt rookie, now whoops, show some respect. Hold it right side up. When I got the Schmidt rookie, I knew from tracking on eBay, and again, you may be able to do better. I knew I was going to pay about $200. My goal was to get it for under 100, but under 100, it was just They were embarrassing looking. It's like, oh, even I
Yeah.
can't like. They're so rough, but I'm gonna pay $100. Like, no, no, no. So I figured, okay, bump the budget up to $200. And my we were on a road trip. My cousin was getting married in New Hampshire. We live in Detroit. We did a road trip out of it. We went to Niagara Falls. We went to Cooperstown and visited the Hall of Fame because my wife is better than everyone's wife, and she noticed that and said we should do that on the way. And then we went hiking the Berkshires. We did a witch tour in Salem, a whale watch in Gloucester, and made our way to the wedding. Well, in Niagara Falls, right in the hotel room, my wife's asleep. I'm laying in bed playing on my phone. That's what I do. And I knew that I had an eBay auction for one of these that was going to end that night. So, pull it up. I'd put my bid in before the trip. And I watch it, and the clock ticks down, and I swear to God, it looked like somebody sniped me. Okay, no big deal. I had another auction marked that was going to close just a few minutes later, so I quickly flipped over to that, put my bid in, sniped that one, got it for right around 200 bucks. Go to pay, and there are two Mike
Yeah.
Schmidt rookies for 200 bucks waiting
I
in.
think we've all had that
I was
happen
like,
at least once.
oh, but 400, I did not plan on spending $400 that night. But the cool thing was, I was like, look, I know I can get this back out. Like, I can get out of this
Mhm.
deal. I can sell this. And I did get I mean, I might have even been able to make up the seller's fee because I think I charged for shipping and it was free shipping to me, whatever. But it's like, it's like, oh my God. It's suddenly the sticker shock that hits you when you flip over there.
Schmidt rookie is a great example of my collection's kind of appreciation over time. I
Mhm.
What I thought was a big card in 2002 on a new platform called eBay. I bought a Schmidt or for my college graduation present to myself. I bought a Schmidt rookie. It's probably about VGEX, in the four range. It's a really nice card, really well centered, crisp all the way around. It's not perfect. I spent $40 on it on eBay in 2002. And At the time that was a monster of a card for me. And now then you can't touch it. That card for it's at least 5x over that time. If not even a little bit more. I'm never thinking about a card's value when I'm buying it. Well, I suppose I shouldn't speak in superlatives. I very rarely am thinking about a card's value. I'm thinking about, is this a card that I want to have because I like it?
Right.
And again, my joy is non-negotiable. If I see something that I like and I would like to have it because it brings me joy, then the cost, whether it's 40 bucks or 400 bucks, that doesn't matter as much
Right.
to me anymore.
I mean, because I could drop 50 bucks on a meal. And if I'm still remember it
Yeah.
2 weeks later, that's not a good thing.
Oh
Like,
man.
but the baseball card I will still have years from now. And I will, and it's that joy of it. Um, yeah, the joy is not negotiable. That's great. So even if we're, as the more alarmist YouTubers say, we're heading for another junk wax era, the hobby is dead. You know what? We still
Keep
had fun
collecting right
along
through
the
it.
way. We
Yeah.
had fun. Yeah,
If prices dip, then I'm a buyer, and if prices keep going up, I'm a buyer. If prices dip, I'll be able to access stuff that I maybe wouldn't be able to access. If we get a little crash, the 1915 Cracker Jack Grover Cleveland Alexander just might come into a realm where it's more possible for me.
exactly.
As an example,
Right,
you know,
right.
until then, I'll have to wait until it comes in a collection where I can flip everything else and bring it back to net $0 and keep the Alexander card.
There was one thing I want to kind of finish up on this, and we talked about like how we engage with the hobby and whatnot, and I personally, as I see these videos about, oh, there's another junk wax era coming, I wouldn't call it that. I do think there's a correction coming because I mean the COVID bump, it's been 6 years. It's just about run its course. The little bit of market correction, unfortunately, becomes panic for all the dealers who put a lot of money into it, seeing that upward trend, just like in the gym. But definitely, so you hit on something in your video that got me thinking. You were at a show and you picked up a 1969 Reggie Jackson rookie for, I believe it was 700, if I remember correctly, and some sort of rainbow foil double refractor sparkly bullshit Harper for
Yeah, it was the
a
Let's Go
thousand.
Red refractor. Yeah.
Yes, for 1,000. And
Hmm.
and you were kind of, is this worth 1,000? Is red better than blue? Is, like what's going on? And it got me thinking because I think there's a problem with that card at any, let alone 1,000. So in 1987, I looked this up last night. In 1987, which was the first year you started collecting, I started in 86. You're familiar with Trading Card Database, of course, yeah?
Sure.
Okay. According to Trading Card Database, there were 12 major releases in 1987. They have a combined 22 inserts and related sets. There were 21 box sets, one food issue from those manufacturers, a couple of oddballs. 58 total sets were produced that year. Now, I looked at 2025, and there were 47 major releases between Panini, Donruss, Bowman, and Topps. And I know Bowman is Topps, but counting that as a separate brand.
Right.
Now, if I only count inserts and parallels, How many sets, individual sets, do you think would have been put out in 2025, if you had to guess, knowing that it went from 12 major releases to 47?
Oh, given the parallels, who can even know at
Right.
that point?
Oh, I know.
Oh, did you look it up?
And it took me a while. But there, so last year alone, there were a total of 5,272 sets put out if you include inserts and parallels of the major releases. 5,272. And what got the reason I wanted that number was when I think about that Harper or any number of one of ones or one of fives or whatever, because I think you had said, well, you can hear the commenter now, oh, that's a one of five. It's of course it's $1,000. But if it's a one of five, if it's a one of one, how on earth do you find a comp for it? There's no sales. I would be willing to say if you tried to find what that card sold for last time, you would find that that card has never sold, that nobody's
Yeah,
ever sold one. So, and the problem with saying, okay, it's scarce, because that's the junk wax problem. We had the demand was fixed and the supply went through the roof. But now you have the scarcity of that card. But if nobody knows it exists, because I think you had said you'd never seen that one before, you didn't know you were supposed to want it. You didn't know you were supposed to want to pay $1,000 for it. And again, I kind of went down the rabbit hole. Last year, there were a total of 1,845 Harpers for the Kid produced. 18
yeah, different ones.
unique. Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, I estimate that Topps probably had about 2,000 unique cards produced in 1987 between the main set, the Tiffany's, tradeds, and then all the box sets and the oddballs. About 2,000 unique cards. And last year they had 3,351 unique sets. And these sets,
yeah,
as I was going through auditing, I couldn't even begin to tell you how many cards there were because I'm not going to add up 5,000 sets. But I was doing it like a random sampling, and these have 100, 200 cards each, which means the industry produced well over 500,000 unique cards last year,
right.
which is a completionist's hellscape. I mean, I'm an old school completionist.
Yeah,
Forget
you
that
can't even
shit.
complete sets these days. And
That's an existential crisis thinking about that many cards.
yeah, and they tell you the companies are telling us what they think of complete sets right now.
Right.
You go and you buy a box of a hobby box to open, and the hobby box is 50, 60, $70 to open 8 packs, and you get your chance at the auto and the big one of one.
Right.
Well, if you just wait to the end of the season, you can get the complete set factory sealed for 59.99. That's how much the
And,
complete sets cost. And
and
then if you wait 3 months after that, by Christmas, they're $40
yeah,
for the complete set factory sealed.
I've
So
gone
the
the last few years because I still like complete sets.
yeah, the
I like
companies are
base
telling
cards.
us that
And
like if you want the complete set, you can just have the complete set. We're not making any money on the complete set. We're making our money on the hobby boxes that have the lottery ticket of, the one of one Shohei Ohtani that allows them to jack up the prices. So, I mean, I think that's great for the people who want to play the lottery, but that's
right,
not me.
right.
It's
Well,
just that's not the way I collect.
what I think what the way that I described what fueled the junk wax era, and we were both there, we remembered it, and you've talked about how baseball cards were everywhere and people were
Everywhere.
hoarding them and they were preserving them. But part of what that mentality was is they heard around that time that the Mickey Mantle 52 Mickey Mantle sold for the relatively quaint sum of around $30,000, as I recall. That
Yeah.
was the first like big headline I heard. And so that scratch ticket mentality, I'm going to have the thing that I'm going to retire on. And of course, yeah, that didn't work out. But at least now it's a scarce thing. But if it's a scarce thing that now I have it and I want to sell it, and there's literally no track record. I mean, that 69 Reggie Jackson, I could look up what they've been selling for. There's probably 100 sold in the last 12 months alone, and I could go and track the trend and almost like a stock index or something. I can see what it's
Yeah.
doing and whatnot, different conditions. But you couldn't do that with that Harper that she found, for example, with the guys
And
asking $1,000.
when the guys are already in Cooperstown, I mean, their contributions to the game are complete. And for all of the guys who are still playing, there's always a chance they're going to wander Franco themselves. Uh, and so for me, I don't mind paying big money for a Hall of Fame card that I want and that brings me joy.
Yeah.
Whether that's a Schmidt rookie or a 52 tops Robin Roberts, or maybe even aspiring to something higher like a 50s Mickey Mantle or something like that. I can see the importance that that piece of nostalgia, that piece of memorabilia has to the game, that has to our country, that has to the fabric of our community and nation. Yeah, but those modern players, you see it every time. You see it all the time. Just recently, like Jason Volpe and Dominguez with the Yankees. Cal Raleigh last year, his cards were super hot. He was hitting home run after home run after home run, and then this year,
Oh,
he's just not hitting home runs like that anymore. And his card market is doing this, and I
right.
just I don't
Mattingly,
I
Eric
don't want to play that
Davis,
game.
Darryl Strawberry, Dwight Gooden. I mean, these are names that when we were kids, oh, Hall of Fame, absolutely. Buy the rookie. You know what? Those were all absolute sure things.
Yeah,
Didn't
then
work.
Doc Gooden and Doc Gooden and
Strawberry.
Darryl Strawberry, got a little too close to cocaine, and that was it.
They liked the way it smelled a little too much. Yeah.
And
And
you
more
know,
recently, take a guy like Nomar Garcia Parra, where if at the end of 2003, if you told me that guy was done, basically, I would have said you were crazy. And yeah, the rest of his career was it just completely dropped off. You never know, or they wander Franco themselves.
yeah.
That's a great verb.
And probably the greatest example of this for me recently is the Phillies ace pitcher right now, Christopher Sanchez. When his rookie card came out, unlicensed by Panini in 2022. I wanted that card because I needed a card for the team set. I wanted his card for the team set, and it was out. So I got his green parallel Panini out of a dollar box in 2022, and it's been sitting in my team set, and it's just been loved there ever since. And a couple of shows ago, I was thumbing through another team box and found a bunch of other Christopher Sanchez rookie cards in there. They were all for $1, and I scooped them all up. And then I looked them up and I realized that Christopher Sanchez rookies are going for 30, 40, $50 a piece now. I probably wouldn't buy a Christopher Sanchez rookie for $40 right now,
Yeah,
because there's the risk that he's going to get hurt and they're going to stop being good. But I'll
pitcher,
buy him all day at a
special,
dollar when he wasn't good, and I'll
right?
buy him all day for a dollar when he is good. Because
Absolutely.
that's important to me, not because I care about the value of the card, which is kind of secondary. I care about him having his card in the team set because that helps my Phillies fandom. That helps me watch the games. It helps me appreciate the games as I'm watching them and as I'm flipping through, and I can see the year that Christopher Sanchez appears in the team set, and then we can, he's going to be the answer to a trivia question someday because he just set the all-time scoreless innings streak for a lefty.
Yep.
So in 20 years, Christopher Sanchez is going to be a trivia on a Phillies game, and maybe I'll be sitting there with my grandson, and I'll be able to go get the Christopher Sanchez card. And the fact that I paid a dollar for it or $100 for it is irrelevant.
Right. Right. Well, hey, Steven, it's been great talking to you. Thanks so much for joining me, and take care and keep picking up the Harpers for the kid.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. This was good fun.
I want to thank the Phillies Guy for coming on my channel. Had a great time talking to him. If you enjoyed that, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, help me get my channel on the map, and definitely check out his stuff over at youtube.com/the Phillies Guy /at the Phillies Guy. Great stuff. Really, just really positive vibes over there all the time. A lot of fun. Also, I apologize to y'all for the audio and visual quality on my end. I saw that. I heard that. And we are gonna fix that. So that will be improved before we do another one of these. Anyway, good night. Hope you enjoyed. Keep going to the card shows, and hope to see you at the ballpark.